Welcome to the GW Communications Project Level Timesheet Reporting tutorial. The Project Level Timesheet Reporting function is hosted on the GW Communications Corporate Services Internet Information Portal. Access to the Corporate Services Internet Information Portal may be gained via any Internet-enabled device. Bear in mind, however, the site is optimized for use with desktop and laptop computers. Use of a tablet or a handheld device such as a smartphone may yield somewhat unpredictable results. From your favorite web browser, the site is available at www.gwcom.biz. Before we get started, it is important to note the two types of timesheet reporting available within the Employee Time Reporting app. Administrative time reporting is limited to the reporting of hours, not specific to a particular customer or project. The reporting of exceptions such as personal time off or PTO, jury duty, bereavement leave, and personal days is completed via the admin timesheet reporting option. For employees assigned to an administrative role, the admin timesheet reporting function will be the only available option. Additional information regarding admin timesheet reporting is available in a separate tutorial video. Project level reporting is specific to a customer and/or project. This type of timesheet reporting involves the reporting of both hours and project-specific bid units. Employees who are eligible for project-level timesheet reporting can report admin entries on the same timesheet. We will see this demonstrated later in this video. From your computer's desktop, open your favorite web browser and in the address pane type www.gwcomm.biz and hit the enter key. At the login page, select your username from the drop-down list and then enter your password. Once your password has been correctly entered, the submit button will be enabled. Click on the submit button to proceed to the GW home page. At the GW home page, select the employee timesheet option from the time reporting menu. Note that the employee timesheet input page contains a menu bar and is divided horizontally into two sections. The upper section of the page contains general information about the timesheet, as well as an input panel consisting of a collection of drop-down lists and input boxes. The lower section contains the timesheet entries grid. Entries created in the input panel in the upper section will be appended to the timesheet entries grid in the lower section. The lower section also holds the Save and Submit buttons as well as the dollar bill icon. The dollar bill icon serves a dual purpose. One, it serves as a launch point for the price preview of your timesheet, and two, it serves as a visual indicator to let you know whether your timesheet has been saved to the database. Also note the presence of three links located on the menu bar. As implied, the GW Home link returns you to the GW Home page. The Unit Codes link pops up a reference sheet of unit codes associated with our customers' contracts. The Log Off button terminates your session and exits the portal. Let's begin the process of inputting individual timesheet entries. As noted, there are two types of timesheet entries, admin and project. Once the project type code has been selected, move to the right to the customer drop-down list. Continue moving from left to right to make your selections, bearing in mind that project level timesheet entries are specific to a customer and geographic location. Let's pause for just a moment to discuss the use of the three authorization types available for project level reporting. In short, each project level timesheet entry can be linked to a corresponding QuickBase project in one of three ways. For those who are unfamiliar with QuickBase, note that QuickBase is utilized by GW for project level tracking. The first authorization type is the job number. The job number is an identifier provided by our customer which uniquely corresponds to an assigned project in QuickBase. Number two is the site ID. The site ID is also an identifier provided by our customer that also uniquely corresponds to a QuickBase project. Third is the GW ID. The GW ID number is the same as the QuickBase ID number that is automatically assigned when the project is created in QuickBase. Utilize the GW ID number as a fallback in the event neither of the previous two authorization types are available to you. It is presumed, however, that one of these three authorization types has been made available to you at the point in time which the work was assigned to you. If necessary, contact your manager or departmental admin to obtain an authorization type and number for the work being reported. Let's resume now with the input of our first timesheet entry. For this example, we have selected job number as our authorization type. Next, we will select the appropriate job number value from the authorization number drop-down list. We are then prompted to select a job title. By default, your current job title is selected and should seldom need to be changed. It is possible, however, to work outside your typical job classification and claim units for a different job title if necessary. We will accept the default and move next to the unit code drop-down list. After selecting either a unit code or date, note the presence of a down arrow to the right of the input panel. This arrow is utilized to transfer entries from the input panel in the upper section to the timesheet entries grid in the lower section. Click on the down arrow to append this entry to the timesheet entries grid. Note that our first entry has been appended to the timesheet entries grid in the lower section. Also note that the down arrow is no longer visible but is anticipating either a new unit code, date, or quantity. With our next entry, only the unit code needs to be changed. Select the new unit code and notice that the down arrow has now reappeared. Click on the down arrow to append this entry to the timesheet entries grid. For our third and fourth entries, only the unit code and quantity need to be changed. All other aspects of these entries, the type, customer, city, etc., remain unchanged. Simply select the new unit code, enter the appropriate quantity, and click on the down arrow to append each entry to the timesheet entries grid. This ability to repeat similar entries on the same project greatly simplifies the task of timesheet input. Keep in mind that adding entries to the lower section of the form does not permanently save your data. In order to permanently save your data to the database, you will need to click on the Save button. Also notice that the dollar bill icon appears immediately after you click on the Save button. As noted earlier, we can click on the dollar bill icon to pop open a priced preview of the timesheet. Notice that each of the line items in our timesheet now shows a unit rate and pay amount. The dollar bill icon also serves as a visual indicator assuring you that your data was successfully saved. As a reminder, it is always a good practice to periodically save your data. We will pause at this juncture to explain the reporting of hours associated with units also being claimed on the same timesheet. If you were wondering why this dual entry on your timesheet is necessary, the explanation is fairly simple. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, any full-time, non-salaried employee who works in excess of 40 hours in a given work week is eligible for overtime. This includes those employees whose primary means of payment is via units worked. So how will we accommodate this dual requirement within the timesheet reporting application? As implied, it will be necessary for employees paid by units to also report their hours associated with those units being claimed on the same timesheet. Bear in mind the need to report hours for project level work not related to a bid unit will also continue to exist. For example, you may need to claim hours worked while attending a meeting with a customer. You may also be asked to work outside of your normal role on a premium or differential basis. We will facilitate these requirements via the use of the following three hourly codes. First is the hours-units code, which will be utilized to report hours associated with the completion of work being claimed using a bid unit code. For example, ASV 01, LG 1111, EN 35, etc. You will need to enter both the hours-units hourly code and the associated bid unit code on the same timesheet. Second is the hours code, which should be utilized when reporting project-related hours not associated with the completion of work not covered under a bid unit. A typical use of the hours code would be when attending a meeting with a customer as part of the requirements of the project. Third is the PREM or PREM code, which should be utilized when reporting project-related hours not associated with the completion of bid units, but at a premium rate. For example, if you typically work as a drafter and are asked to spend time providing quality control or QC analysis, presuming a premium rate has been authorized by your manager, you would use the PREM code to report your time spent working as a QC analyst. Any questions regarding the reporting of hourly codes to a customer-related job or project should be directed to your manager for clarification. For our next set of project-level entries, we will need to select a new city, authorization type, and authorization value, as well as unit codes, dates, and quantities. Again, the flow of data entry is from left to right, with the next drop-down list being enabled as soon as the previous selection has been made. Notice two things. One, the down arrow is not visible until you have modified either the unit code, date, or quantity. And 2, when you click the down arrow, the dollar bill icon disappears. This behavior is intentional. As stated previously, the dollar bill icon serves as a visual indicator to let you know whether all of your entries have been saved to the database. By clicking on the down arrow, we have now appended data to the timesheet entries grid that has not yet been saved to the database. Thus, if there is no dollar bill icon visible, then you have data stored in the timesheet entries grid that needs to be saved prior to exiting the input page. Also, as stated previously, the ability to organize your timesheet entries so that only a minimal amount of change is required between entries not only greatly enhances the usability of the app, but also helps to improve the accuracy of your entries. Should you discover that you have made a mistake on an entry stored in the timesheet entries grid, there is no need to be concerned. You can edit any entry by simply clicking on the Edit button corresponding to the row you wish to modify. Two things will happen. First, the row will be removed from the timesheet entries panel in the lower section. Second, your data will be returned to the input panel in the upper section of the form, where you can then make any necessary changes. Once you have made your changes, you can click on the down arrow to return the entry to the lower section. As noted, it is always a good practice to periodically save your changes. It's also a good idea to check the priced preview just to make sure all of your changes were committed to the database for safekeeping. You can exit your timesheet and pick up where you left off again at any time. In addition to the visual indicator provided by the dollar bill icon, anytime you click on a link that would otherwise redirect you from the input page, you will receive a dialog box asking you to confirm your choice. In this example, clicking on any of the links or buttons that would otherwise cause us to leave the input page brings up the dialog box. If the dollar bill icon is not visible, then you should stay on the page and save your data prior to exiting. As noted, one of the primary conveniences of the timesheet reporting app is that you can save and come back to your timesheet at any time. As demonstrated earlier, simply log back into the Corporate Services Internet Information Portal and then select the Employee Timesheet option from the Time Reporting menu on the home page. Notice that the data from your timesheet is retrieved from the database and is displayed just as it was when you logged off. The dollar bill icon is visible, indicating that all data from the database was successfully retrieved. We will now append another row of project level data. In this example, we will be claiming units from a third project, again in a different customer location. We will move from left to right, making our selections. Also in this example, we will select the GWID number as the authorization type. In reviewing the list of GWID number values available in the authorization number drop-down list, we will make our selection. Please bear in mind the GWID number is typically the last option when selecting an authorization type. However, use of the GWID number provides the most efficient means of directly linking your timesheet entries to the correct QuickBase project. Also of note is the availability of the unit codes link on the menu bar. When attempting to select a unit code, you may find it necessary to first validate your choice by referring to this list. Simply click on the link and the unit codes pop-up will appear. The unit code reference contains a listing of all the known unit codes and their corresponding description from our customer contracts. Once you have familiarized yourself with the correct code or codes, you can click on the Close link at the top of the page to return to the timesheet input page. After returning to the input page, we can proceed with our timesheet entries. As has been demonstrated previously, it is a simple process to append entries to the same project. Here we will simply modify the unit code and quantity, then commit the new entry to the Timesheet Entries panel in the lower section of the page. We will once again save our timesheet and make sure the dollar bill icon has appeared prior to attempting to log off and exit the page. By clicking on the Log Off link, we will again receive a dialog box asking us to confirm our choice. With the dollar bill icon clearly visible, it is safe to go ahead and exit the page. Our next entry will demonstrate the input of exception time in the form of 8 hours of PTO. Unlike our other entries, PTO is considered to be an administrative entry. Stated differently, admin entries for items such as PTO, jury duty, bereavement leave, etc. are not specific to a customer or project and are considered to be exceptions to the reporting of regular hours or units worked. Please note, if you attempt to input a value greater than 8 hours per day for any exception time code, you will receive a message informing you that your entry has been modified to reflect a maximum of 8 hours allowed. Having verified all of our entries to be accurate, our timesheet is ready to be submitted for approval. Note that it is not necessary to click the Save button prior to clicking on the Submit button. The Submit button will simultaneously save data to the database and mark the timesheet as having been submitted for approval. After clicking on the Submit button, a dialog box will appear informing you that your timesheet has been forwarded to your manager for approval. Click on the OK button to proceed. From the home page, attempt to re-enter your timesheet by clicking on the Employee Timesheet option from the Time Reporting menu. You will receive a message informing you that your timesheet is pending approval. You will not be able to make any additional timesheet entries until your timesheet has either been approved or rejected by your manager. Once your timesheet has been approved, you will receive an email receipt. Save this receipt for your records. Likewise, if your timesheet is rejected, you will receive an email indicating any changes that must be made. Log back into the app, make the requested changes, and resubmit your timesheet.